How did I get 3 separate gun charges thrown out over the past year for my clients? I'm going to talk about it. My name is Chris Benevento. I'm an attorney in northern New Jersey practicing criminal defense and personal injury. So, the first case. I had a client who was Colombian. He married an older woman. They had a child together. It turned out she worked for the Colombian cartel and was ultimately arrested along with 50 other individuals in a big giant multinational sweep. She did her time here. She was ultimately deported back to Colombia. That left my client and their child, their young child, here in America. She was upset because my client would not move down to Colombia with their child. He felt that it was a better environment for him here in New Jersey. So her daughter from her previous marriage, who was an adult, came here to New Jersey and decided to make a baseless allegation against my client that he threatened her with a gun and that the child has access to this gun. And what did that do? That prompted the police to file a domestic violence criminal complaint along with giving her a temporary restraining order. But in that temporary restraining order, she argued that she should have temporary custody of the child. And the court gave it to her because those temporary restraining orders are applied for ex parte, meaning that you don't have the other party there to defend themselves. So what the plan was ultimately, we believe, was that they were going to try to sneak the child out of the country. Anyway, we file an emergent action in the family court in order to get the kid back to him and explain our position and our concern. Now, then that leaves the restraining order was dismissed ultimately. That left the criminal charge for the possession of a firearm for an unlawful purpose. And we had to go fight that in Hudson County Superior Court, and we ultimately got that dismissed without a trial. So that was a good case. Second case, we had a client that was driving his vehicle, got into a road rage incident, and the other driver alleged that our client had pulled out a firearm, aimed it at him, and told him that he was going to kill him. Luckily, this other driver reported it immediately because they were able to identify my client. The police were able to rush to my client's home where he was on his way home. He was going to be there in a few minutes. They beat him there, and they were able to stop my client, search the vehicle, did not find a firearm, but they ultimately charged him with possession of a firearm for an unlawful purpose anyway. That went up to Superior Court. We argued that. They downgraded it to municipal court, and ultimately we were able to get that dismissed there. Now the third charge, we had a client that was dating a woman who was married and in the process of getting a divorce. And he allegedly took a video of himself taking a firearm with a mask on and threatening the girlfriend's soon-to-be ex-husband. Somehow that video made it to the police. The police ultimately charged him, took all of his firearms, confiscated all the firearms, and then he was charged with possession of a firearm for an unlawful purpose as well. Ultimately, we were able to get that dismissed because, number one, there was no telling who this person was in this mask. There was nobody to authenticate that video. And number two, the state ultimately waited too long to indict this individual. And so we were able to file a motion to dismiss the case based on the state's delay, unreasonable delay, and indicting him, bringing the case to the grand jury so that they could get an indictment returned. And that's a failure to prosecute the case, and ultimately it was dismissed. So if you want to hear this, stories like this and other stories, please like, subscribe, and we'll continue. Thanks.